welcome to Devil Hearts Podcast. Today we are going over the Hwaseong serial murders that happened in South Korea. And today we are going to start with the trigger warnings as normal. This episode discusses serial murder, sexual assault, violence against women, police misconduct, and wrongful convicted. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Hwaseong serial murders 1986 through 1991. Intro. Welcome back to Devil Hearts Podcast, where we cover true crime, paranormal mysteries, and strange weather phenomenons from around the world. This is another chapter in our Asian true crime series. Today we are traveling to South Korea to discuss one of the country's most horrifying criminal cases, the Hwaseong serial murders. For more than 30 years, the killer remained unidentified, leaving the entire nation terrified and forever changing Korean criminal investigations. And today we have a video that's like 47 minutes long, so be prepared for that. It's more in the case, so warning about that. Setting the scene. The murders occurred in a rural farming community of Hwaseong, Gyeonggi Province, South Korea between September 1986 and April 1991. At the time, South Korea had very limited forensic technology. DNA testing was still in its infancy. Surveillance cameras were rare, and investigators relied heavily on witness testimonies. No one imagined they were about to witness South Korea's first notorious serial murder cases. The victims. For over 4 years and 7 months, 10 women and girls were murdered. The victims ranged from 13 to 71 in age. The heck was that? Oh, something might have exploded, but who knows. Many of them disappeared while walking home alone after dark. So kids do not walk alone in dark, so technically do not sneak out because exactly that's reason. So yeah. And if you do, you're bad. The killer typically chose isolated rural roads, sexually assaulted many of the victims, bounded their hands and feet, used the victims' own clothing to strangle them, left their bodies in fields, canals, or wooden areas. Because of the crimes shared the same disturbing pattern, investigators realized they were dealing with a serial killer. Fear takes over. Yes, I'm using my computer because I haven't printed the script out yet. And Eva and Corwin are not here, so I'm not really printing them out until they get here. Because I can use one script, my notebook, and my computer. So, Fear takes over. As the murderers continued, panic spread through South Korea. Women became afraid to leave their homes after sunset. Parents escorted their children everywhere. Many businesses began closing early. New coverage intensified with every new victim, and the murders dominated headlines for years. The largest investigation in Korea's history. Police launched what became one of the largest criminal investigations South Korea had ever seen. The investigation included over 200 million investigator workdays, more than 21,000 suspects questioned, thousands of DNA samples, tens of thousands of fingerprint comparisons. Despite all of these, the killer continued to evade capture. Investigation mistakes. The investigation became infamous for serious mistakes. Serious mistakes. I cannot speak today as normal. These included crime scene being contaminated, evidence have been mishandled, witness pressured, suspects being into giving false confessions. The biggest tragedy involved Hwaseong, who was convicted of one of the murderers after giving what he later said was confession contracted through police torture. He spent approximately 20 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Years later, the conviction was outturned after new evidence emerged. Sponsor break / further learning. If you'd like to learn more about the case, the creators and productions have covered it in detail. Rotten Mango's 72's episode covered the investigation. CNA investigators catching a killer, the Hwaseong murders, a 2-part documentary featuring interviews with investigators and the wrongfully committed man. Right now is like the video, but after I finish this, like saying it, then I will play the video. Memories of Murder, 2003, directed by Bong Joon-ho, is fictionalized retelling inspired by the investigation before the serial killer was identified. A huge thank you to investigative journalists, documentary filmmakers, researchers, and ethical true crime creators whose work has helped preserve the facts and cases and honored the victims. A breakthrough after 33 years. For a decade, this case appeared impossible to solve. Then, in 2019, investigators retested evidence using modern DNA technology. The DNA matched a man already serving life sentence for the rape and murder of his sister-in-law. His name was Lee Chong-jae. Eventually, he confessed to not only the Hwaseong murders, but several additional murders and dozens of sexual assaults. Investigators determined that one of the original 10 cases had been a copycat, killing while confirming Lee was responsible for the others. Why he never tried. Many investigators listened. If police knew who did it, why wasn't he prosecuted? The answer is frustrating because he was already serving life, so like putting on another life is just like 2 people serving life at like one time, but it's like stacked on top of each other, which if you're serving for life, you can't really serve for another life because like you're just already gonna die unless you get reincarnated, and then like people find out and then be like, nope, you gotta serve another life. That's just no. The answer is frustrating. The murders occurred before South Korea established the statute of limitations for murder. By the time Lee was identified through DNA, the legal deadline for prosecuting those specific murders had already expired, and that too. However, Lee was already serving a life sentence for another murder, so he remained in prison for the rest of his life. The legacy. Hwaseong serial murders forever changed South Korea. The investigations led to better DNA preservation, improved forensic science, criminal profiling techniques, reform in homicide investigations, greater awareness of wrongful convictions. Today, the case remains one of the most influential criminal cases in South Korean history. Outro, the Hwaseong serial murders weren't just for the story of the serial murders. They exposed flaws in the entire justice system, left innocent people imprisoned in haunted South Korea for more than 3 decades. Thanks to advance in forensic science, the truth finally emerged. Even if justice for every victim could never be achieved. Thank you for listening to Devil Hearts podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, consider following the podcast and sharing it with some people who enjoy respectful, well-researched true crime. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and take care of everybody around you and check up on them. Even though they might be smiling for a while, they might be going through a hard time. So make sure you check up on your friends and your family and more people. So with that being said, Devil Hearts out.